Tiny Tarot. Hey, what have you got to say today? And this is LowKey Magickal. I am with Earl, the podcast master. Hello, Earl.
Hello.
And this is episode number 2 of Tiny Tarot Podcast. So happy to have you here, Earl. Happy to be here. I'm trying to stop banging into the table because I know that's really a loud sound. And we are, for those of you who are just joining us, I am also on Facebook and Instagram as LowKey Magickal, and I do a Tiny Tarot daily read or close to daily read that comes out. It's doing really well, so the podcast just seemed like a natural, fun progression of that. The universe loves fun. So it's happening, and we're having a wonderful time. So far, so good. We're on numero dos. Marque el dos, Earl.
Number
by
2.
the way. And when pondering
numero
numero dos for podcast, marque el dos.
We've got to learn Hindi at any dialect.
In any dialect.
Yeah.
Let me just mark that down real quick. Learn Hindi. Let me get my memo cards out. Learn, because I don't have enough going on. So right along with the phrase, I don't have enough going on.
I don't have enough going on.
Topic for today's, and I'll just be honest, I was meditating prior to coming here. I thought I already had our topic for the day. And Tiny Tarot said, hey, guess what? This is going to be completely different than you thought. And my thought was it's going to be, and we may have a show specifically about this, family dynamics during the holidays. And Tiny Tarot said, hey, you mean the myth of holiday stress? And I said, what do you mean the myth of holiday stress? Holiday stress is very real. But I was reminded, I used to work for a corporate marketing program, and yes, the holiday stress idea was something that was developed by corporate marketing to get us to feel a need that we should fulfill. That's the way marketing works. You show a problem, and then you show the solution to that problem, correct, Earl? You know how that works?
Yep.
And then someone now has this anxiety that I'm feeling because now I know what this problem is, can be alleviated by purchasing product XYZ. And then it sort of builds on itself, and suddenly we have a new reality where holiday stress exists. So, Earl, what do you think the original, let's talk about just as being humans. We've developed the concept of a holiday for a reason. What do you think that would be?
Well, greed was so greedy back in the early days of greediness, long ago. Excuse me for sounding like a vice president.
Greed was greediness.
Yeah, it was like, man, it's worse now. It's only evolved into something like stronger now, but as a social force. But it seems like more than likely the cynic in me thinks maybe it had something to do with an accounting office needing to have a hole in a ledger for some particular reason, probably really corrupt. I don't know.
Who knows?
What do
Who
you
knows?
think?
I'm going back even further.
Let's go back even
I'm
further.
going back even further. I'm thinking more in terms of
God is serious about his holidays in the Old Testament.
Absolutely.
But
in
the Torah and in the Quran, Allah's
about
really,
how to observe them.
These dates are not to be missed.
These are very
and you to
important.
do these things on these. It's a break from your routine.
It is a break from your routine. There we go. That's one of the key phrases.
A great benefit is just a break in the routine, but
around mutually observed important dates.
Exactly.
It seems to be.
And you
that
do
usually,
this list of things. Usually there's some traditions.
Right, some traditions that go along with that. So you know that if there's traditions, then there's been a long line of uninterrupted continued behaviors, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So around these certain times that we have deemed as a human species to be important, which also seem to coincide with seasonal change, with earth changes.
Right.
So what we've determined is since the beginning of us keeping track of things, we noticed that there were these important dates. We wanted to remember these dates because they seemed to be important. So we would take a break, tell each other stories, remember to be thankful for what we had, and then we would continue to move forward with our life. Does that sound right?
That sounds right.
Okay.
Yes.
And somehow that's become what I would call the Christmas shit parade that,
right.
that we experience. Wow, that was so direct. That we, in Western society,
yay, parades and
experience.
Waukesha.
And
yes.
I'm already getting, holiday and Christmas music on the radio, and
yes.
we've not even hit Thanksgiving yet, and
the Mariah Carey is coming down.
When did this happen? Like, when did this mess of now and the willingness to go into debt during this time of year to make sure that everyone receives their gift, and also you are responsible for giving to those that are less fortunate than you, and then it's just meeting with family members that you haven't seen in a very long time, and they still render you as who you were the last time you saw them. They don't see progress within you, so immediately, why does he still talk to me like that? Well, that's how that works. So that was my original thought. And then Tiny Tarot said, well, a whole lot of this has been installed, because what was the holiday originally for? It was for you to take a breath and be thankful that you haven't died up to this point yet. Like, exactly. That was really, yay, we're still here.
Yes.
And we've continued to put clothes on that. Weirder and weirder
it's
clothes.
National We Survived the Crash Day.
We survived it, right. It's like, and then if you have enough to share.
A memorial to the wrecked ship is behind us about 10 miles.
Yes. So.
We had enough energy to build a memorial. So we're grateful for that.
So what's the deal with that? That just means that what can we do? And I'm saying, Tiny Tarot, hey, what have you got to say today? What can we do to re-embrace the original idea of holiday, and let go of what has become a big pile of obligations around a time of, what should be a very celebratory and sharing time of year? How does that sound, Earl?
I like that.
All right. So I have put the stack into 3 different piles. Intuitively, would you please choose one of these stacks, Earl? Tiny Tarot, hey, what have you got to say today? And we are immediately pulling, a Page of Pentacles. It all begins with an idea, It all begins with someone having an idea that this could be beneficial to me. And that's, oh gosh, I don't mean to be sort of negative with this energy right off the bat, but it's someone had the idea that this time of year, this feeling could be beneficial for one, obviously, monetarily beneficial. This is something that I can market.
Right.
Holiday stress is something that I can market. And then 2, it seems to have started as a rather innocent thing that just sort of built on itself until it became sort of a festering blister.
Huge families colliding. I have these for Christmas anyway, and Thanksgiving. Huge families on the mom's side and the dad's side. Just like, we're talking 40, 50 people in the house. They would just collide, and a lot of these people didn't get along, and there was politics involved sometimes. Yeah. There was
alcohol involved sometimes.
Sometimes, not at my house, but
there was sometimes
other people's houses. Yes, oh gosh.
But whatever.
Oh, so it just goes on and on and on.
Let go of, and it's to know that's great, and I could take that and I could use that as something to market to you with. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
I can see that's something that people do, but instead of dealing with underlying issues of communication and family dynamics and why are we so stressed to start with, I would rather sell you something or sell you an idea that continues to sell you.
Bed and breakfasts do really well.
Like.
Airbnb rates go. Where did you come from?
We have a puppy happening.
There's
too.
a dog here. Oh no.
It would make more sense if people would get hotel rooms and more bed and breakfast during this time of year. It really would. It would. But one of the things that you have to remember straight up with the beginning of this read, that one of the reasons why we get sold a myth is because that myth has been profitable to someone.
Right.
Okay?
Yes, I follow.
You have been sold a bill of goods because that bill of goods was deemed profitable to someone.
Right.
If you look at the end result, most of the time, that's, what does it look like their original intention was? Well, what's the outcome? The outcome is a lot of people have become very wealthy over this. But the Page of Pentacles also tells me that the original intention, and this is where the theories of conspiracy theories come in, okay? Is this a conspiracy theory? And this tells me, no, not really. The Page of Pentacles is pretty innocent. It all starts with like one innocent layer of someone just having an idea. But once that idea, and earth energy is a slow-moving energy, once that idea begins to snowball and more realization that putting people in stress makes them easier to manipulate and easier to sell to. So if we take this idea of holiday, which was originally for all of us to just sit back and relax, and we change that and we focus on the stressful things, like where did your mind originally go? Stress with family. Mine was stress with shopping and credit card problems and staying up late to wrap everything the night before and meeting my children's expectations. Like all of these things come in there. So when someone says, yes, holiday stress, I can relieve that with this pumpkin chai latte. You're like, ooh. Oh, yes, ooh, okay, I understand. But my thought is, I kind of want to go to like big evil marketing company twirling the mustache and going, yes, we're going to create, until it gets to a point where it's so feverish and we're doing, ridiculous fights over Black Friday things. And I don't think that was the original intent when they started, if that makes any sense. If that makes any sense. And it does. It goes to a...
Let's talk, just aside, just for a second, let's talk about intent for a moment as a magical force. Intent as a force of will. And sometimes I get the feeling, because things got so out of control with like Black Friday and these stresses that you're describing, things in some instances have gotten so bad with that. I don't think there was any intent. I don't think there was any sort of a spiritual force behind it. It's like, I think this would make us a lot of money. I think this is just going to generate a ton of cash.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there was no, I want to inflict stress on everyone. There was nothing like that.
I don't think so either.
Or I want to make everyone's life easier. It would
not be great if I had a secret. Wow, this kind of opens
pharmacy executives going, gentlemen,
theory.
I have a new idea. We're going to make people better.
We're going to make people so
healthy. We're going to put ourselves out of
that
business.
We no longer exist. Ha ha! Wow, that is the best story ever.
When kids laugh.
And the second, as you were saying that, Earl, I pulled the second card, and it is the Knight of Pentacles, and that is the same. This is even. Again, it's an earth energy, so it's slow, and it represents money, and it is just that never stopping, even pace, moving forward. And it makes me think of that, regardless of what idea we come up with, and these were the conversations that we would have in corporate, any kind of corporate marketing, we must have double-digit comps next year.
Yes.
We have to look at what we did this year, and we have to go over and above that by X% next year. Every single year. And how many, for real, how long can you expect continued growth like that? How many marshmallow-filled Santa Clauses can you sell until everyone is just, I've got to get my quota of marshmallow-filled Santa Claus to meet do you see what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
The Knight of Pentacles is, I feel like between these two energies, it's literally just like the computer brain, the computer analysis saying must have double-digit comps next year. Must double our marshmallow Santa Claus sales. Must. And it doesn't take into effect diabetes. Like, it doesn't take into effect what are you doing to everyone socially and psychologically when you are pushing this
And it's serious.
Yes,
it's
and I know that we're kind of joking about this, but this is a real...
It's executives really thinking about possibly killing themselves if they haven't hit the numbers,
That's absolutely true.
It's marshmallow-filled Santa Claus.
It is marshmallow-filled Santa Claus. That's the way we're going to look at this.
You wake up in the city of night.
Are you suffering from holiday stress? And it's going to be like me, wrapped in foil, the little marshmallow-filled Santa Claus. Goodness sakes. Well, and this is maybe because we happen to live in an area, you and I, that's near the headquarters of the largest retailer in the world.
This is true.
And you and I both were employed by that retailer.
Yes, we were.
So we were steeped in this soup and these discussions. We're not talking about this lightly. When I say...
And we were there a long
we
time.
were there a long time.
Yes.
We were kind of in the middle of this. So when I say that there are people that get into rooms, and say, like when people talk about the food industry, how do we make this more craveable? We were saying, how do we get people to buy this earlier? How do we determine what time of year they're thinking about XYZ so that we can get it on the shelf in time? How do we determine where their pains will be so that we can offer the salve in the right time at the right price? And none of that was evil. None of that was...
How do we make more money?
Now, I understand that, I
used the wrong magic words because everything is a bit of a magic spell when you're speaking English. It's all incantation. Every word we say is a prayer of some sort or another to something or another. Even if it's to ourselves to try to sort something out, which is the reason we pray. If you want to correct me, I used the wrong magic words there. It would be like not how can we make more money, but how can we increase the size of this peak on this graph against this baseline?
It's all numbers driven.
It's numbers and math. It's all that side of the brain that pushes this, and the stress that can come out of that, through a hierarchy is phenomenal. Yeah,
the stress that can come, right, and that was my thought. There was always someone a step up that had a reason to ask you to do what you were doing, which was pretty much just turning one cog in this large group of multi-cogged, correct? But your focus was just that initial cog. I understand what role it plays, but I'm just going to do what I've been assigned to do as best I can. So there's never maybe there is a Mr. Burns at the top at some point, right? But individually, however, now think about how many consciousnesses under Mr. Burns are involved in this effort that kind of peaks, at the top. That's a lot. And we are sitting we were sitting in rooms in these meetings. So you have multiple consciousness in a meeting coming up with ideas. Right. And so you are kind of like, and especially with marketing, we were determining what to call things and what to call times of year and what colors and words to use to influence. That is kind of like putting spells together when you think about it. But again, it never seemed to be with any other intent than, how do we get what this person, how do we move as much product as possible?
As common human intent. I want to be comfortable. I want to be satisfied.
Well, of course, not in the jobs, you and I, we wanted to get paid.
I want to get paid.
We were coming and clocking in and getting the work done and getting paid.
I want to be able to maintain this lifestyle that I've built from that income that was coming in.
And I want to alleviate stress by appeasing management.
Right. If I do something right, everybody smiles and everyone's happy.
Yes.
If I screw something up, which in my case, I was more likely to screw something up. So I was frequently stressed the hell out.
My point is, I don't feel like overarching conspiracy, but more of a numbers-driven, how do we, this worked last year, push it harder, just sell more, has gotten us to this peak point where if you turn around, if 100 years ago you had said, this is what Christmas is going to be. If you took that person from 100 years ago and said, now, this is what Christmas is going to be in 100 years, they would be horrified, apart from being astonished by a Ziploc bag, because let's be honest, like even a Ziploc bag would astonish someone from 100 years ago, but they would. It would
pepper
be,
in a can.
Whoa, what? Exactly. Your spices, you are so wealthy. You have as much salt as a king. I don't know about 100.
Is that silk?
It would be way more than 100 years ago, but yeah, your ancestors would be astonished by how much spice you have.
Yes.
You are truly a king.
What is Tiny Tarot?
I'm going to say, oh gosh, it's the devil.
Oh,
I love this one. Well,
oh, shit.
Now, Tiny Tarot is reminding you, they're only selling you what you're buying.
Yeah, okay.
Got it? So you got to remember that there's a hunger, even if the hunger is being artificially inflated. There is a hunger that in the end you are trying to satisfy. And that hunger is actually, how you satisfy that hunger really is your responsibility. The thing about the devil card, and we can probably show a nice close-up of this, is that it's a naked male and female, and they are tethered to, this big devil on a throne that looks a lot like Dave Grohl from the Tenacious D video. That's so awesome.
I wish I could cut that clip in here.
I know. But they're really, when you look at it, they're kind of in a relaxed state, and the chain is slack. They really are the ones that are holding themselves there. And the devil is that which we give power over us. It's not necessary. We can call it a big scary thing that I don't have control over. But in the end, it's something that we have more control over than we realize. And this is when the phrase comes into my mind: you vote with your dollar. Please understand that what's being grown is being fed, and you are feeding this process with your dollars. So, stop feeding it.
You're complicit.
You are complicit in this. Yeah. Wow, that's the perfect. There are
you
times.
Are an active.
Why do I even question Tiny Tarot? I was like, Tiny Tarot, I really don't know where this is going. And then BAP, the devil. Tiny Tarot's like, you are complaining about something that, again, we talk about collective/aggregate consciousness.
Right.
This is. It's like. I think about when you complain that your dog is getting so fat, but you're throwing him all your scraps and your donuts. You're like, oh, this poor dog, he's getting so fat, and you just continue. But I can't help it. He's so cute, and that's not really it. But
I'm killing him with sugar.
We really are complaining about something that we continue to feed with our dollars, and it gets bigger and bigger and more because we continue to allow it to vacuum up. What we complain about giving it.
Right.
Where does that stop? That stops with, do not participate in Black Friday. If you really don't like that, don't participate in it.
Don't contribute to.
Yeah. And then immediately someone says, but I want the newest blah blah, or I want but Best Buy has this, or whoever it is has this, and that's where it is. That little twinge of, I may not get the cool thing.
Yeah.
I may not be the first to have.
There
may not be enough for me.
In this movie series, Fast and Furious, there's this.
What?
The very first one.
Family.
There's this line. Family.
Family. It's all about family.
Above all, it's all about family.
It's all about family.
There's this line in it where they're getting ready to race, and the hero tells this other guy, like, don't do this because this guy's got $100,000 dropped in this car.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. And you see it right in the scene, and marketing to that same theme. Marketing has spent over probably, what do you think, like $2 trillion since 1920 to figure out how to absolutely manipulate us. And you can't beat that. Well, that is mind control, funded and developed to sell you more and more and more and more and more.
To vacuum the dollar out of your
wallet. But get you to volunteer it cheerfully with a smile on your face.
Not to really feel it. It's almost like
it's a strange
being anesthetized, and then you wake up and you're
and only something sinister, could thrive
felt
within
way.
that environment.
I was in a meeting
and the devil card
where
has to come full circle on that.
they had customers come in and they put eye tracking
Yes.
glasses on them
Saatchi and
so that
Saatchi
they
X
could
had a-
tell so that they could
Sorry,
tell
I mentioned a name.
Yeah,
I'll bleep that.
you may
Sorry.
have to bleep that, but so that they could tell where the customer's eyes went when they
Right.
walked down the aisle, so that they could tell what colors, what shelf position.
Yes.
So understand that even just where your oatmeal lands on the shelf is determined.
Indicators of emotional flux.
Yes, yes.
What you were feeling. They could
Pupil
pupil dilation. Right. Yeah. It's
So
right out of Blade
when I
Runner.
talk about that devil, that's part of that in this. That devil is only, yes, the devil is, in this case,
It's representative. I
watching
get that.
very closely and understands your behaviors better than you do.
And
Okay,
that's
and that's
terrifying.
kind of that's part of that AI thing that scares us a little bit, is that
Absolutely.
we're coming to understand that all of this information is being put into this huge, I mean, in my mind, it's just like a big database where it's coming to understand human behavior much better than we ourselves
Okay,
do.
now I'm beaming out. I'm giving you a psychic to Tiny Tarot. I'm making a request that the next card in some way would get us to a place where we can have our cake and eat it too, where we don't survive in the future, we thrive in the future.
Right.
We're excited and happy.
Okay.
And not the Great Reset bullshit about you'll have nothing and be happy. None of that.
None
But-
of the
but
naked
the
baby that
aggregate-
we talked about before.
The aggregate from the baby from the sun.
aggregate and
Something
the
that
baby
leads us
from
in
the
there.
sun, and this is
Another devil card.
No, it's not, but it is another Pentacles card, which
Okay.
is still Earth energy. And I think this whole
Okay.
discussion is really, because Pentacles represent money, 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 money. This is all
Okay.
the way money across. And Seven of Pentacles says, show your commitment.
Right. Okay.
Don't just talk the talk.
Do it.
You have to walk the walk.
Yeah.
And you have to expect that growth has to take place. You didn't get yourself here all at once. This process, this weird marketing, I feel like we're in this weird marketing nightmare where we're creating so much plastic trash and so much dollar store flotsam. Is that a good word?
Right.
That we're
I'm
going to,
surrounded
as
by
I
it.
walk into what winds up being, especially when you have the joyful meal. I'm trying to give
The
you
joyful
the
meal.
less reason to bleep things. The joyful meal that
Yes.
comes with plastic trash inside of it,
Right.
that then becomes what I used to call the just toy box sludge, like
Right,
the
right.
bottom
Toy
of the
box
toy
sludge.
box that you can just sift through, and it's legs and arms and
Got
random
it.
Lego and crap from the joyful meal
Yes.
that goes directly into a trash can, or God forbid somebody will bag it up and they try to give it away to a charity.
No.
Charities do not want your toy box sludge.
Flea
As
markets
someone-
have entire
do not
booths
want your toy box sludge.
of toy box sludge.
We have to start saying no to that garbage, because it's being, by the time it's in your hand, right, it's already been through and produced, and it was someone set in an office like you and I to create every piece of that toy box. Let's make it blue.
Yep.
Let's make him 2 inches tall.
Oh,
you
and
need
there
to
was
hollow
stress
him
and
out so he's
This is-
cheaper.
by Tuesday, he's got to
It
have
needs
bigger
to-
biceps, and they need to be
coordinate
purple.
with the movie.
Yeah.
It needs to look more like the famous guy. It needs to.
This looks
and
nothing
then,
like Harrison
and
Ford.
then 3 months later, it is in the bottom and broken in the bottom of, and then in
Yeah.
the trash, and then in the lake or wherever
Yeah.
it winds up. So
And
Tiny Tarot is
75
saying-
years in the future, someone in a flea market picks it up out of a bin and goes,
who
"What the
would
hell
sell?
is this?"
Why would you think I would want
What?
Captain America's left leg?
They show it to their dad. Dad, do you know what this is?
Do you
Dad
collect
can't remember.
these?
His dad's like,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know what the
can.
fuck that is, man.
That's called toy box sludge, Timmy.
Toy box sludge.
So Tiny Tarot says, first of all, you didn't get here all at once.
Right.
And the thought of trying to turn like a large, what is in the Western days when they would have that large train of horses that's just,
A
the
wagon
covered
train?
wagon is just going, and it's got one of those long, like
Yeah,
it's got
like a-
8
like
or
a
10
16
horses. Yes, like a
and-
16
yeah.
horse.
Nuts.
Trying to turn that, it feels like a monster.
Yeah, you have to
you know
train
what I
the
mean?
horses to know how to.
If you had that going full speed, if you had a
Right.
full train of like 16 horses and a giant, which that's what like a, what is that when they take those big, like those layaway things that they have at Walmart where they put them outside and people are packing all of the stuff that they've bought. Have you seen that? They actually have those pods that they rent now that they put outside because there's so much merchandise that they can't keep it in the store. Yes. So all of that is just like
freight cars.
Like freight cars, like big freight boxes.
Shipping
Yeah.
crates.
Like all of that is just barreling down. And to get that to slow down is going to take time. Like, or like you were saying,
a
crazy sudden reset. And we saw what happens now when you even just put a little blip in that.
Yeah.
Like we saw recently what happens when just, one shipping container turns sideways.
Yes.
And then I didn't get my Amazon package. Now, was that reaction of one shipping container turned sideways for a week or so? And we were like, I didn't get my watch band or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that really the same energy of show your commitment if you really want this to slow down? Do you see what I'm saying?
I do get it.
Consumerism comes down to an individual, and I know there are people that are willing to go out in the woods and live in a tree house, and they are hardcore like that, but this is saying you can just apply the brakes.
Okay, it's a slow down, take a look at what you've got.
Take a look at what you've got.
Be appreciative for the stuff that you have that you're grateful to have.
Don't overbuy.
Back off.
Don't feel that this type of consumerism is an obligation for you to participate in it. Yeah. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
You don't have to go whole hog, full force. I must decorate my house from top to bottom. This is my budget for the, normalize thrift store gifts, homemade gifts. You don't have
a text. I love you.
A text, This year it's a text. God bless you. I hope you enjoy it. Do you see what I mean?
I'm thinking about you. Give me a call. I got a minute.
If this is something, and none of this is pointing a finger and saying, here's what you need to do. This is what Tiny Tarot is saying. If this is causing you distress, if looking around at how early the Christmas merchandise starts to come out, at how early the songs are being played now, right? Immediately after Halloween. That doesn't make sense to me. That we go directly from Halloween.
That Atheist Ain't Got No Songs by Steve Martin. You said, Thanksgiving ain't got no songs.
It does not. It's not.
I'm sure
one Adam Sandler song and that's it.
Please, anyone watching this out there, comment, send something to the inbox at LowKey Magickal. What is a Thanksgiving song? It wasn't marketed very well. There are more and more Thanksgiving horror films showing up, but no, Thanksgiving ain't got no songs.
And the absolute next card that came out was Tiny Tarot saying you are the one that determines whether or not this is going to continue. This has to be up to you. It's the Judgment card, and it's an angel that's blowing the horn, which is like the vibration of truth. And when you blow that horn, everything that is not truth falls away. And if you see, there's these people rising up and they're naked because they're realizing, oh man. So part of this is you can either take steps to feel better about it now and do those things individually that you can to help slow that train down. Or you can wait until it becomes unsustainable.
Right.
And then what do you think is going to happen at that point? That's more, again, we've come to naked people. I don't know if
you're starting over.
You're starting over. I mean, this is one of those, and it's not you better do this or. It is kind of you do need to understand that when you hit an unsustainable process, it can end one of a couple of ways. You can come to your senses and start changing that process, or you can wait until it becomes a disaster. What do you choose to do? And even though this is kind of a fun, in my mind, I'm thinking, you could make this a fun topic of like how not to feel holiday stress. Holiday stress isn't really real. It's just it's kind of turning into, this is indicative of a lot of things that we're doing to ourselves, including overindulgence in a lot of other ways. You know, overeating,
Right.
just over drug use, over. And this is another holiday marketing and the way that we go over the top about something that was supposed to be, let's all take a nap. Let's all take a rest. We've worked really hard this year. We didn't die. We have some food to make it through the winter. Let's have some snacks and take a nap before we get started on this next leg of our journey, which is also going to be really hard. That's what it was. And it's turned into, if I don't get a gift for my nephew Billy, his mom's gonna be mad, and you know what I mean?
Right,
and I'm
right.
gonna have to, and all of this project has to be done before the thing closes, and you know, and we've done crazy things to ourselves over this. It's way too big. It's rolling like crazy, and we are filling our landfills and our oceans with plastic toy box sludge, and that embarrasses me.
sludge, yeah.
I do feel like if the goddess of creation came back tomorrow and said, "Hey, flick the light, click, click, click. What have you guys been doing with the planet? Where it all? Why are your toys like everywhere?" It would be her. Why is the ocean filled with your?
Yeah, screw climate change.
With
Just stop cluttering everything up.
With
you
your
know?
joyful meal toy. Pick this up. Pick it up. That's what she would say. Pick it
Make
up.
the toy available for sale on the side if someone should decide they can't live without that thing, and leave it the heck out of every single thing that goes out the drive-thru window.
Yeah. But there have to be, just like you and I said,
Or
these
don't.
are regular people making these decisions.
Yes.
These are regular, you and I were regular people sitting in meetings deciding how things were going to be produced and what color they were going to be and when they were going to get on the shelf. And I know that there were discussions about, you know, recycling and sustainability, and that was all fun to talk to. But, you know, the bottom line was always, how do we sell? How do we make that double digit over and above what we made last year? And that cannot be like in Tron, when when Tron is just basically left to himself and it's numbers driven only, and the soul and the heart is taken out of the decision making process, you wind up with something that has no heart, something that's completely soulless. And that's kind of what it feels like. Stop.
And it doesn't have your best interests at heart.
It really doesn't have your best interests at heart.
Because it has no intention at all.
No.
It's just...
But anytime you really do have something addictive that's running your life that way, and if this is something that it's almost reflecting an individual, even though we're an entire society here.
Right.
But as an individual, if you've got a process in your life that's getting a little bit out of hand, you know, it's like intervention time. You can either have an intervention or you can let it run to the point where you've run something into the ground that you shouldn't. And one more card, and this is an 8 of Wands, and that is, you know what, quick communication coming in sooner than later. So this would say this involves work, and this work should be done sooner than later. I'm going to put this 7 of Pentacles and this 8 of Wands together. Like, what are you going to decide to do about this? And guess what? Make the decision and do it sooner than later. Don't just sit on it. If there's something that's bothering you and you can take action this year, then do it now. Don't wait and go, well, maybe in the next couple of years I'll tell so-and-so I don't have to buy their kids presents this year, and I'll say no to this, and maybe next year we'll do this, and we'll tell Aunt Sally that no, she doesn't get to stay with us this year. You know, start making some of those changes now. Do it sooner than later.
Right.
Because if this is indicative of so many other things, again, we are in... Gosh, I was going to take this all light. Tiny Tarot just gets me. Tiny Tarot gets to the point and wants to pull out the rotten tooth. It doesn't just say, all right, well, you just put a little salve on it. It's like, look, people, if there's something that you don't like, even if it wasn't intended, even if maybe there isn't a single person to blame, and the energy of pointing a finger and blaming someone gets you nothing anyway. You're looking in the wrong direction. What we're doing is pointing a dart to what we want. We don't even really have to figure out how we get there. We just have to find the energy of where the dart's gonna land and focus there. And what does that look like? That looks like really less of this just worthless little like blips and chits, these little pieces of plastic, these little things that we don't even really hold value that we're being sold all the time. All of this just stuff that is being produced in order to satisfy this back and forth money exchange sparkly things time of year. Please buy these worthless sparkly things. Yay!
Yay!
If that really is something that you want to bring to an end. Because you know, according to this devil, it's just to satisfy that. None of this is making the world better. It's creating more pollution. It's not really celebrating the original intent of the holiday, whatever that is. You want to put a religion on it? You want to put family traditions on it? Really? Was it your great-great-grandma's family tradition to hide an elf all over the place and buy him different outfits and put, $50 worth of ornaments on it? It really wasn't. It wasn't about the show, and it wasn't about how much money and how much debt can you go into. It wasn't about that. That's not what the holidays were about. But we've turned it into another addictive, obligatory process. And if you really are judging that, if you are looking at that and finding it unpleasant, as I am in this moment when you really take it apart, then you're going to take some swift action, and you're going to show some commitment to that swift action. And that means, should you choose to celebrate differently this year, should you choose to unplug a little bit, spend less money, right? Consume a little less food, then don't get uptight about other people. That's part of what holds us into a societal mold, is that we'd go, what's it going to look like? I'll make so-and-so mad if I don't show up with 15 tubs of Cool Whip, right? And I will upset someone in my life, or someone may judge me if I buy thrift store gifts this year. That's the kind of stuff that we have to let go of. If we want to break this weird cycle of more, and make more, and sell more, and produce more, and guess what? More trash on the back end. If we really do want to break that cycle, then we begin by making small individual changes, not out of guilt and shame, none of that, just where can I make those changes this year? I do not have to charge XYZ on my credit card just because I feel obligated to, correct? Or I can make everybody cookies this year, just whatever. Take that action, take it this year.
Man,
don't
I want
wait.
Cookies now.
Yeah. And then show commitment to that process. Let's say you succeed this year. I feel better. I did not go into as much debt. I didn't have to buy so much trash. I didn't have as much wrapping paper to throw away. All of that feels really good. How can I apply this same process to the rest of how I live my life?
Right.
Correct? I mean, that just feels like it. Like that's, if you don't like this, the reason that it becomes so concentrated during the holidays is because we have this deadline date, and we all have these expectations, and the energy is, we're all kind of moving towards the same thing. So it sort of concentrates that behavior. And now that we can see it all concentrated, if you don't like it, this is how you take steps to change it. Individually, what's within arm's length, always.
What you can change.
And show some commitment to that. Keep it consistent. That's how you don't stand out in front of that out of control runaway wagon that we talked about and go, hey, I want you to go the other way. Like, what's going to happen if you do that? You just get run over. But if you can, right? But if you can realize that you are behind the reins, and you can begin to slowly, with a little effort, make your influence, just your individual influence, that's way better than just standing there waving your arms going, I don't like this.
Got it.
Whew, Tiny Tarot didn't mess around today.
No.
I thought that was going to be all lighthearted. This is how to deal with your drunk grandpa. Like, nope, that is not where Tiny Tarot went.
Nope.
Tiny Tarot was like, let's talk about the holidays. And the holidays can be fun. They don't have to be so stressful. Well, I tell you what.
They should always be nothing but fun.
They should always be nothing but fun.
It's getting together with people that you love.
Always good things to eat. And always, and there's going to be things that people talk about that they don't agree on. That was part of getting all that out before. Everybody always just sat around a fire and got full of turkey and argued. That was.
I'm thinking the old ways of doing
fashioned
things might be the best way to approach it on occasion.
Or a blend. There's a way to have there's a way to have
scale it back.
Yeah, just scale that back. It doesn't have to produce so much garbage. That's such a big part of this to me, is that dollar store nastiness that I see, that I know is being just produced in large quantities and then thrown directly into the trash. That just feels like something, again, goddess of creation comes back. I'm gonna be a little ashamed of that one.
Oh no. Okay.
How come it looks like the Play-Doh going right out of the, just right into the garbage?
Extruder.
We extrude our toys right from here, and then we just put them right in the landfill, because that's where they're gonna wind
I
up.
always thought a mailbox that had a shredder in the back
Yes,
of it would be
that
like
would
that
be
when they throw the
great.
mail in. It just
How much? How much of that that's trying to disguise itself as important? Just right into the back. Well, thank you so much, Earl, for this Tiny Tarot podcast.
Thank you.
I wish that Tiny Tarot had been a little bit more.
Tiny Tarot's in a mood.
Hey, Tiny Tarot's in a mood, but this is how it is. Like, let's
point some stuff out.
If
Look,
you want it to be a little less stressful, then you are the one that does the work. All right,
You're the one that
I
fixes
get it. Okay.
It's on you.
You can look me up on Facebook, LowKey Magickal with a K. Message me there if you would like to schedule your own personal read. I am also on Instagram, and this podcast is on Rumble and also appears on YouTube, and those links will be floating around as well.
Right. And also, if they want to just message us, that they can message you through the Facebook.
Through Facebook, absolutely.
Yes, please.
Facebook Messenger. If you've got a good question, like, hey, next time on Tiny Tarot, what about this? I'm wondering
read
about
it.
this.
We'll out your name.
We will.
We'll dox you.
We won't. Come on now.
No, we won't. We'll keep it totally anonymous. But yeah.
Look at this guy's question. This is crazy.
Or we do have the capability of taking a call. So if somebody wanted to set up a thing and give us a call, we can maybe think about a remote read.
Yep.
That's possible, right?
It is possible.
That's a thing.
It is absolutely possible, yes.
So messaging would be a good way to make that ask.
Yep.
Yeah. If you don't ask, you don't get. So there you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Earl. This has been a good one. And we will see you next time for number 3, LowKey Magickal with a K. Have a magical rest of your day.